In this video we will talk about chapter 18. We will see topic of sovereignty, its concept and features, legal and political sovereignty, internal and external sovereignty. Is India a sovereign nation? Discuss its sense. Modern state. Sovereignty denotes exercise of legal and political authority. Discuss. Let's begin our today's video. Sovereignty is the supreme law-making and decision-making power of a community. Ultimate source of sovereignty is people. Sovereignty is the supreme. It is the right of a government to have complete control over its area. According to Hensley, sovereignty is the idea that there is a final and absolute political authority in the political community and that no final and absolute authority exists elsewhere. Sovereignty is the chief characteristic of a state. Sovereignty is an assumption about authority of modern political life domestically and internationally. Sovereignty assumes that government of a state is supreme, independent and autonomous. Sovereignty is a constitutional arrangement of political life, thus artificial and historical. Now we will see rise of sovereign state in two steps: Roman Empire and medieval monarch. In Roman Empire, people transferred all their imperialism and power to emperor, not bound by laws. Decision of emperor had force of law. They expressed the idea that emperor exercised an absolute form of sovereignty. Medieval monarchs were not a strong monarch because they were constrained by and shared power with feudal aristocracy. Sovereignty re-emerged as a concept in 16th century when civil war created a craving for stronger and central authority. Conception of sovereignty by James Borden, by Thomas Hobbes, Jean-Jacques Rousseau and John Locke. These are the four sociologists that we will see in conception of sovereignty. By Jean Borden in 1576, a book called Six Books of Commonwealth Republic presented sovereignty as untrammeled and undivided power to make law. He gave modern theory of sovereignty. He defined sovereignty on basis or terms of authority. Borden argued that sovereignty who made laws but was not himself bound by those laws. Laws are very little and more than command or sovereign, subject required to obey. He argued that it is inherent in nature of state that sovereignty must be absolute or perpetual. Perpetual means these are not temporary. By Thomas Hobbes, he described sovereignty in terms of power. Earlier, Jean Borden have described sovereignty in terms of authority, and Thomas Hobbes have described sovereignty in terms of power. He established a unique relation of authority, sovereigns to subject, and unique political power. He said, sovereign each member of a community with another member to surrender all their rights and power into the hands of one person or body who becomes sovereign. He provided a strong justification for state power. Authority of sovereign is permanent, undivided, and ultimately unlimited. He defined sovereignty as a monopoly of coercive power and advocated that it be vested the hand of single person or body of person. He placed a state in all powerful position with respect to community. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. According to him, sovereignty originates in the people. Ruled should be the rulers. He placed community or the majority in a position to wholly dominate individual citizen. Now the fourth sociologist, John Locke, he said community is the source of sovereignty and state is the proper instrument for its exercise. Now we can see by these conceptions that sovereignty can be broadly divided on the basis of authority or power. So, sovereignty on basis of authority and power can be legal or political. Let's briefly discuss legal sovereignty. It is based upon belief that ultimate and final authority resides in the law of state. De jure sovereignty, supreme power defined in terms of legal authority. Right to require somebody to comply as per law. Whereas political sovereignty is concerned with actual distribution of power. De facto sovereignty, its existence of supreme political power, have ability to command obedience due to monopoly or the coercive force. For example, Nazi in Germany or the Pol Pot's Cambodia, they manipulate, repress and coerce and do not endure for long. This was the only reason for them to be demolished. In modern state, sovereignty involves a claim to exercise legal authority and to claim to exercise power by right. Thus, legal authority has to be underpinned by the exercise of power. Now let's discuss the 7 characteristics of sovereignty. It's absoluteness, exclusive, permanence, universality, inalienability, indivisible, and imprescriptibility. Absoluteness means there is no limitation, it is not being subject to restraint. Social group and association make rules which command authority within limits defined by law. Exclusive says that within one state there is one sovereign. It does not accept rival or parallel authority. In permanence, since state is permanent institution, so is sovereignty. Once sovereignty is lost, state ceases to exist. Universality means cover every group, individual, association. Sovereign state exercise power on all under its jurisdiction. Inalienability means that the sovereignty cannot be transferred. Alienating sovereignty will destroy state. For example, transfer of one person's life to another without destruction is not possible. Indivisible. Dividing sovereignty will destroy it. So there can be only one sovereign power. For example, there can be no half human being in existence. Imprescriptibility means the state of being incapable of prescription. There is no time period for exercise of sovereign of a state after which it will be lost. Now, what do you mean by internal and external sovereignty? Internal sovereignty refers to the distribution of authority within a state and leads to questions about the need for supreme power and its location within the political system. MacLeod, Bawden, Hobbes, Locke, and Rousseau disagreed about who or what the ultimate authority should be, but were united that sovereignty could be and should be located in a determinate body. This is traditional doctrine of sovereignty, also called as monistic theory of sovereignty. It was criticized by pluralists such as John Fricke, Harold J. Laxey, and democratic government. They argued that monistic theory is intrinsically linked to a absolutistic past and so undesirable. They emphasize that political power in any society does not rest only in the state apparatus but is shared by a number of groups and institutions. They pointed that it is no longer applicable to modern system of government. As for example, you can see our current government system is divided in central and state government, and it's true that there is number of powers that is shared by number of groups and institutions between central and state government. For pluralistic liberal democratic principles are very antithesis of sovereignty. Pluralistic missed out a point that the most position is that the legal theory of sovereignty. State alone has compulsory and universal jurisdiction in its territory. State can legally use coercive power. State is highest authority. There is no appeal against the sovereign action of state. It is relationship between sovereign power and its own subject. It examines the internal affair of state and how it operates. Sovereignty within national affair is the internal sovereignty. Now let's talk about external sovereignty. Sovereignty from inside a state is supreme authority, from outside is self-governing authority. External sovereignty refers to the state's place in the international order and therefore to its sovereign independence in relation to other states. Sovereignty in international relation is synonymous with state power. External sovereignty is constitutional independence. External sovereignty implies that there is no higher political authority over the state. Sovereign state has exclusive jurisdiction over his territory, its occupants, resource and events. Westphalian International Society have given two principles. First is Rex est imperator in regno suo. It means that king is the emperor in his own realm. Sovereign are not subject to any higher political authority. And the second is Jus region ius religio. Ruler determine the religion of his realm. Outsiders do not have right to intervene in sovereign jurisdiction on religion ground. External sovereignty establishes basic condition of external and internal relation, that is international relations, anarchy and no rule making enforcing institution. There is ruled, governed, social order in international relation. Now, after understanding what is sovereignty, its type, can you say that India is a sovereign country? Yes, India is a sovereign country because people have supreme right to make decision. It is a powerful country. It has a parliament form of government. It is free from external control. Government is divided into two levels, each of which exercise a range of autonomous power. Federalism involves division of power between two levels. Sovereignty rests in document, that is the constitution. Power to interpret constitution lies with Supreme Court. To amend constitution in India, 2/3 of the majority in both the houses of parliament and 1/2 of the state is required. Sovereignty in India is vested in India themselves. As we expressed the constitution, we the people. Thus, polycentric concept of sovereignty has taken roots in federal states. And thus India is a sovereign nation. In next video we will talk about chapter 19. Please like, share, subscribe and comment for any query. You can also join us on Telegram or Instagram. Thank you.